Shalom, saints. May we begin this walk with praise to the Most High Yah. Make a joyful noise unto Yahuwah, all ye lands. Serve Yahuwah with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know that Yahuwah, he is Elohim. It is he that has made us and not ourselves. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him, and bless his name. For Yahuwah is good. His mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations. Well, saints, I've been asked to do smaller walks with you regarding what is happening in this world. I have done some of them throughout my channel, as they were led by the Ruach HaKodesh. However, my main goal is to do voiceovers regarding the lost books of the Bible. When I discovered that we are the tribe of Judah and the chosen of the Most High Yah, I wanted to know more knowledge about him. There was a deep thirst and hunger for his words and to really get to know him. And throughout the days in my meeting of people, and I believe sometimes angels, Yah asked me to go ahead and do these presentations. I'm trying to keep my focus on these voiceovers on regarding the lost books as I encounter them. There's so much revelation that he has shown me in the past 5 years that sometimes I wonder if I just should make the presentation short and just talk, and I have prayed to see if that's what he wants. I am still waiting for his reply. So I know my father answers me in many ways, and when my husband told me I should do shorter snippets, I began to pray on that as well. In the meantime, I will continue to work on the voiceovers regarding lost books as I have encountered them on my walk with you, and getting to know him personally and sharing the walks with you saints, so that you too may have a base point to start your walks with the Most High Yah and become closer to him. Shall we begin?
Jacob's blessing to Judah. And Judah called unto his sons, and said, Gather yourselves together, that I might tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rise him up?
The copy of the word of Judah, what things he spake to his sons before he died. They gathered themselves together, therefore, and came to him, and he said to them,
Hearken, my children, to Judah your father. I was the fourth son born to my father Jacob, and Leah my mother named me Judah, saying, I give thanks to Yahuwah, because he hath given me a fourth son also. I was swift in my youth, and obedient to my father in everything, and I honored my mother and my mother's sister. And it came to pass, when I became a man, that my father blessed me, saying, Thou shalt be a king, prospering in all things. And Yahuwah showed me favor in all my works, both in the field and in the house. I know that I raced a hind, and caught it, and prepared the meat for my father, and he did eat. And the ruse I used to master in the chase, and overtake all that was in the plains. A wild mare I overtook, and caught it, and tamed it. I slew a lion, and plucked a kid out of its mouth. I took a bear by its paw, and hurled it down the cliff, and it was crushed. I outlined a wild boar, and seizing it as I ran, I tore it in sunder. A leopard in Hebron leaped upon my dog. I caught it by the tail, and hurled it on the rocks. It was broken and torn. I found a wild ox feeding in the fields, and seizing it by the horns, I whirled it around, and stunning it, I cast it from me and slew it. And when the two kings of Canaanite came seeked in armor against our flocks, and much people with him, single-handedly I rushed upon the king of Hazor, and smote him on the greaves and dragged him down. So I slew him, and the other, the king of Tapua, as he sat upon his horse. I slew, and so I scattered all his people. Achor the king, a man of giant stature I found, hurling javelins before and behind as he sat on his horseback. And I took up a stone of 60 pounds weight, and hurled it and smote his horse, and killed it. I fought with this other for 2 hours, and I clave his shield in twain, and I chopped off his feet, and killed him. And as I was stripping off his breastplate, behold, 9 men, his companions, began to fight with me. And I wound my garment on my hand, and I slung stones at them, and killed 4 of them, and the rest fled. And Jacob my father slew Belisah, king of all kings, a giant in strength, 12 cubits high. And fear fell upon them, and they ceased warring against us. Therefore my father was free from anxiety in the wars when I was with my brethren. For he saw in a vision concerning me that an angel of might followed me everywhere, that I should not be overcome. And in the south there came upon us a greater war than that in Shechem. And I joined in battle array with my brethren, and pursued 1,000 men, and slew of them 200 men and 4 kings. And I went upon the wall, and I slew 4 mighty men. And so we captured Hazor, and took all the spoil. On the next day we departed to Araton, a city strong and walled and inaccessible, threatening us with death. But I and Gad approached on the east side of the city, and Reuben and Levi on the west. And they were upon the wall, thinking that we were alone, were drawn down against us. And so many brothers secretly climbed up the wall on both sides by stakes, and entered the city, while the men knew it not, and we took it with the edge of the sword. And as for those who had taken refuge in the tower, we set fire to the tower, and took both it and them. And as we were departing, the men of Tapua set upon our spoil, and delivering it up to our sons, we fought with them as far as Tapua. And we slew them and burnt their city, and took a spoil all that was in it. And when I was at the waters of Cozba, the men of Jobel came against us to battle, and we fought with them and routed them, and their allies from Shiloh we slew. And we did not leave them power to come in against us. And the men of Machir came upon us in the 5th day to seize our spoil, and we attacked them and overcame them in fierce battle, for there was a host of mighty men amongst them, and we slew them before they had gone up the ascent. And when we came to their city, their women rolled upon us stones from the brow of the hill on which the city stood. And I and Simeon hid ourselves behind the town, and seized upon the heights, and destroyed this city also. And the next day it was told us that the king of city of Gosh with a mighty host was coming against us. I, therefore, and Dan feigned ourselves to be Amorites, and as allies went into the city. And in the depth of the night our brethren came, and we opened to them the gates. And we destroyed all the men and their substance. And we took for a prey all that was theirs, and their 3 walls we cast down. And we drew near to Tamnah, where was all the substance of the hostile kings. Then, being insulted by them, I was therefore wroth, and rushed against them to the summit. And they kept slinging against me stones and darts. And had not Dan my brother aided me, they would have slain me. We came upon them, therefore, with wrath, and they all fled, and passing by another way. And they besought my father, and he made peace with them. And we did to them no hurt, and they became tributary to us, and we restored them their spoil. And I built Tamnah, and my father built Pabel. And I was 20 years old when this war befell, and the Canaanites feared me and my brethren. And I had much cattle, and I had for chief herdsman Eram the Adulamite. And when I went to him, I saw Persarba, king of Adulam. And he spake unto us, and he made us a feast. And when I was heated, he gave me his daughter Bathsheba to wife. She bare me Er, and Onan, and Shelah. And two of them Yahuwah smote, for Shelah lived, and his children are ye. And 18 years my father abode in peace with his brother Esau, and his sons with us. After that we came from Mesopotamia, from Lebanon. And when 18 years were fulfilled in the 40th year of my life, Esau, the brother of my father, came upon us with a mighty and strong people. And Jacob smote Esau with an arrow, and he was taken up wounded on Mount Seir. And as he went, he died at Ananaram. And we pursued after the sons of Esau. Now they had a city with walls of iron and gates of brass, and we could not enter into it. We encamped around, and we besieged it. And when they opened not to us in 20 days, I set up a ladder in the sight of all, and with my shield upon my head I went up, sustaining the assault of the stones, upwards of 3 talents weight, and I slew 4 of their mighty men. And Reuben and Gad slew 6 others. Then they asked from us terms of peace, and having taken counsel with our father, we received them as tributaries. And they gave us 500 cores of wheat, 500 baths of oil, 500 measures of wine, until the famine when we went down into Egypt. And after these things my son Er took wife Tamar from Mesopotamia, a daughter of Aram. Now Er was wicked, and he was in need concerning Tamar, because she was not of the land of Canaan. And on the 3rd night an angel of Yahuwah smote him, and he had not known her according to the evil craftiness of his mother, for he did not wish to have children by her. In the days of the wedding feast I gave Onan to her in marriage, and he also in his wickedness knew her not, though he spent with her a year. And when I threatened him, he went in unto her, but he spilled the seed on the ground, according to the command of his mother. And he also died through wickedness. And I wished to give Shelah also to her, but his mother did not permit it, for she was wrought evil against Tamar, because she was not of the daughters of Canaan, as she also herself was. And I knew that race of Canaanites were wicked, but the impulse of youth blinded my mind. And when I saw her pouring out wine, owing to the intoxication of wine, I was deceived, and took although my father had not counseled it. And while I was away, she went and took for Shelah a wife from Canaan. And when I knew what she had done, I cursed her in the anguish of my soul. And she also died through her wickedness, together with her sons. And after these things, while Tamar was a widow, she heard after 2 years that I was going to shear my sheep, and adorned herself in a bridal array, and sat in the city Enam by the gate. For it was a law of the Amorites that she who was about to marry should sit in fornication 7 days by the gate. Therefore, being drunk with wine, I did not recognize her, and her beauty deceived me through the fashions of her adorning. And I turned aside to her, and said, Let me go in unto thee. And she said, What wilt thou give me? And I gave her my staff, and my girdle, and the diadem of my kingdom in pledge. And I went in unto her, and she conceived. And not knowing what I had done, I wished to slay her, but she privily sent my pledges, and put me to shame. When I called her, I heard also the secret words which I spoke when lying in her in my drunkenness, and I could not slay her, because it was from Yahuwah. For I said, Least happily she did it in subtlety, having received the pledge from another woman. But I came not again near her while I lived, because I had done this abomination in all Israel. Moreover, they who were in the city said there was no harlot in the gate, because she came from another place and sat for a while in the gate. And I thought that no one knew that I had gone in to her. And after this we came into Egypt to Joseph, because of the famine. And I was 46 years old, and 73 years lived I in Egypt. And now I command you, my children, hearken to Judah your father, and keep my sayings to perform all the ordinances of Yahuwah, and to obey the commands of Yah, and walk not after your lusts, nor in the imaginations of your thoughts and haughtiness of heart, and glory not in the deeds and strength of your youth, for this also is evil in the eyes of Yahuwah. Since I also gloried in the wars, no comely woman's face ever enticed me, and reproved Reuben my brother concerning Bilhah, the wife of my father. The spirits of jealousy and of fornication arrayed themselves against me, until I lay with Basua the Canaanite, and Tamar, who was espoused to my sons. For I said to my father-in-law, I will take counsel with my father, and so will I take thy daughter. And he was unwilling, but he showed me a boundless store of gold in his daughter's behalf. For he was a king, and he adorned her with gold and pearls, and caused her to pour out wine for us at the feast with the beauty of women. And the wine turned aside my eyes, and pleasure blinded my heart. I became enamored of, and I lay with her, and transgressed the commandment of Yahuwah and the commandment of my fathers, and I took her to wife. And Yahuwah rewarded me according to the imagination of my heart, inasmuch as I had no joy in her children. And now, my children, I say unto you, be not drunk with wine, for wine turneth the mind away from the truth, and inspires the passion of lust, and leadeth thy eyes into error. For the spirit of fornication has wine as a minister to give pleasure to the mind. For these two also take away the mind of man. For if a man drink wine to drunkenness, it disturbeth the mind with filthy thoughts, leading to fornication, and heateth the body to carnal union. If the occasion of lust be present, he worketh the sin, and is not ashamed. Such is the inebriated man, my children. For he who is drunken reverence not no man. For lo, it made me also to err, so that I was not ashamed of the multitude in the city. In that before the eyes of all I turned aside unto Tamar, and I wrought a great sin, and I uncovered the covering of my son's shame. After I had drunk wine, I reverenced not in the commandment of Yahuwah, and I took a woman of Canaan to wife. For such discretion needeth the man who drinketh wine, my children. Herein is discretion in drinking wine. A man may drink as long as he preserveth modesty. But if he go beyond his limit, the spirit of deceit attacketh his mind, and maketh the drunkard to talk filthily, and to transgress, and not to be ashamed, but even to glory in his shame, and to account himself honorable. He that committeth fornication is not aware when he suffers loss, and is not ashamed when put to dishonor. For even though a man be a king and commit fornication, he is stripped of his kingship by becoming the slave of fornication, as I myself also suffered. For I gave my staff, that is, the stay of my tribe, and my girdle, that is, my power, and my diadem, that is, the glory of my kingdom. And indeed I repented of these things. Wine and flesh I'd eat not until my old age, nor did I behold any joy. And the angel of Yahuwah showed me that forever do women bear rule over a king and a beggar alike. And from the king they take away his glory, and from the valiant man his might, and from the beggar even the little which is the stay of his poverty. Observe, therefore, my children, the right limit in wine, for there are in it 4 evil spirits, of lust, of hot desire, of profligacy, of filthy liquor, reckless, shameful gain. If ye drink wine in gladness, be ye modest in the fear of Yahuwah. For if in your gladness the fear of Yahuwah departeth, then drunkenness ariseth, and shamelessness stealeth in. But if ye would live soberly, do not touch wine at all, lest ye sin in the words of outrage, and in fightings and slanders, and transgressions of commandments of Yahuwah, and ye perish before your time. Moreover, wine revealeth the mysteries of Yahuwah and men, even as I also revealed the commandments of Yahuwah and the mysteries of Jacob my father to the Canaanitish woman Bethshusha, which Yahuwah bade me not to reveal. And wine is the cause both of war and confusion. And now I command you, my children, not to love money, nor to gaze upon the beauty of women, because for the sake of money and beauty I was led astray to Bethshusha, the Canaanite. For I know that because of these 2 things shall my race fall into wickedness. For even wise men among my sons shall they mar, and shall cause the kingdom of Judah to be diminished, which Elohim gave me because of my obedience to my father. For I never caused grief to Jacob my father, for all things whatsoever he commanded I did. And Isaac and the father of my father blessed me to be king in Israel, and Jacob further blessed me in like manner. I know that from me shall the kingdom be established. And I know what evils ye will do in the last days. Beware therefore, my children, of fornication and the love of money, and hearken to Judah your father. For these things withdraw ye from the law of Yahuwah, and blind the inclination of the soul, and teach arrogance, and suffer not a man to have compassion upon his neighbor. They rob his soul of all goodness, and oppress him with the toils and troubles. Drive away sleep from him, and devour his flesh. He is hindereth in sacrifices of Yahuwah, and he remembereth not the blessing of Yahuwah. He hearkeneth not to the prophet when he speaketh, and resenteth the words of the godliness. For he is a slave to 2 contrary passions, and cannot obey Yahuwah, because they have blinded his soul, and he walketh the day as in night. My children, the love of money leadeth to idolatry, because, when led astray through money, men name as gods those who are not gods, and it causeth him who hath it to fall into madness. For the sake of money I lost my children, and I had not my repentance and my humiliation, and the prayers of my father been accepted. I should have died childless, but Yahuwah of my fathers had mercy on me, because I did it in ignorance. And the prince of deceit blinded me, and I sinned as a man and as flesh. Being corrupted through sins, I learnt my own weakness while thinking myself invincible.
Know therefore, my children, that 2 spirits wait upon man, the spirit of truth and the spirit of deceit. And in the midst is the spirit of understanding of the mind, to which it belongeth to turn whithersoever it will. And the works of truth and the works of deceit are written upon the hearts of men, and each one of them Yahuwah knoweth. And there is no time at which the works of men can be hid. For on the heart itself have they been written down before Yahuwah. And the Spirit of truth testifieth all things, and accuseth all. The sinner is burnt up by his own heart, and cannot raise his face to the judge.
And now, my children, I command you, love Levi, that ye may abide, and exalt not yourself against him, lest ye be utterly destroyed. For to me Yahuwah gave the kingdom, and to him the priesthood. He set the kingdom beneath the priesthood. To me he gave the things upon the earth, and to him the things in heavens. And the heaven is higher than the earth. So is the priesthood of Yahuwah higher than the earthly kingdom, unless it falls away through sin from Yahuwah and is dominated by the earthly kingdom. For the angel, O Yahuwah, said unto me, Yahuwah chose him rather than thee, to draw near to him, and to eat at his table, and to offer him the first fruits of the choice things of the sons of Israel. But thou shalt be the king of Jacob, and thou shalt be amongst them as the sea. For as on the sea just and unjust are tossed about, some taken into captivity, while some are enriched, so also shall every race of men be in thee. Some shall be impoverished, being taken captive, and others grow rich by plundering the possessions of others. For the king shall be as sea monsters, and they shall swallow men like fishes. And the sons and daughters of free men shall they enslave. Houses, lands, flocks, money shall they plunder, and with the flesh of many shall they wrongfully feed the ravens and the cranes. And they shall advance in evil, in covetousness uplifted, and there shall be false prophets like tempests, and they shall persecute all righteous men. And Yahuwah shall bring upon them divisions one against another, and there shall be continual wars in Israel. And among men of another race shall my kingdom be brought to an end, until the salvation of Israel shall come, until the appearing of Elohim of righteousness, that Jacob and all the Gentiles may rest in peace, and he shall guard the might of my kingdom forever. For Yahuwah sware to me with an oath that he would not destroy the kingdom from my seed forever. Now I have much grief, my children, because of your lewdness and witchcrafts, and idolatries which ye shall practice against the kingdom, following them that have familiar spirits, diviners and demons of error. Ye shall make your daughters singing girls and harlots, and ye shall mingle in the abominations of the Gentiles, for which things' sake Yahuwah shall bring upon you famine and pestilence, death and the sword, beleaguering by enemies and the reviling of friends, the slaughter of children, the rape of wives, the plundering of possessions, the burning of the temple of Yahuwah, the laying waste of land, and the enslavement of yourselves among the Gentiles. And they shall make some of you eunuchs for their wives, until Yahuwah visit you, when with perfect heart ye repent and walk in all his commandments, and he bring you up from captivity among the Gentiles. And after these things shall a star arise to you from Jacob in peace, and a man shall arise from my seed, like the Son of Righteousness, walking with the Son of Men in meekness and righteousness. And no sin shall be found in him, and the heavens shall be open unto him, to pour out the Spirit, even the blessing of the Holy Abba. And he shall pour out the Spirit of grace upon you. And ye shall be unto him sons of truth. Ye shall walk in his commandments first and last. This branch of Yahuwah Most High, and this foundation giving life unto all. Then shall the scepter of my kingdom shine forth, and from your root shall arise a stem, and from it shall grow a rod, the righteousness to Gentiles, to judge and to save all that call upon Yahuwah. And after these things shall Abraham and Isaac and Jacob arise unto life, and I and my brethren shall be chiefs of the tribes of Israel. Levi first, I the second, Joseph third, Benjamin fourth, Simeon fifth, Issachar sixth, and so on, all in order. And Yahuwah blessed Levi, and the angel of the presence, me, the powers of glory, Simeon, the heaven, Reuben, the earth, Issachar, the sea, Zebulun, the mountains, Joseph, the tabernacle, Benjamin, the luminaries, Dan, Eden, Naphtali, the sun, Gad, the moon, Asher. And ye shall be the people of Yahuwah, and have one tongue, and there shall be no more spirit of deceit of Beliar, for he shall be cast into the fire forever. And they who have died in grief shall arise in joy, and they who will pour for Yahuwah's sake shall be rich, and they who put to death for Yahuwah's sake shall awake to life, and the hearts of Jacob shall run in joyfulness, and the eagles of Israel shall fly in gladness, and all the people shall glorify Yahuwah forever. Observe therefore, my children, all the law of Yahuwah, for there is hope for all of them who hold fast unto his ways. And he said to them, Behold, I die before your eyes this day, 119 years old. Let no one bury me in costly apparel, nor tear open my bowels, for this shall they who are kings do, and carry me up to Hebron with you.
And Judah, when he said these things, fell asleep, and his sons did according to all whatsoever he commanded them, and they buried him in Hebron with his fathers.
Well, saints, thank you for watching. Thank you all the saints that help in catching any editorial bloops. I hope this helps in your walk to get closer to Yahuwah. Let us be strong in the Word. Remember to put on the whole armor of Ephesians 6:10 through 18. And Shalom.